Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fahmi Fadzil. This is actually quite an interesting turn of events. If you want to talk about catalysts for change, disease is one. Nurul Izzah was supposed to be here. Unfortunately, she's down with viral fever and is hospitalized actually this morning. So thank you, Ellen and the team for accommodating, I suppose. But she sends her best regards, and I think we are going to make a video. She will communicate something later on. And actually, I have nothing planned for this talk. And that actually is the most exciting thing. Initially, I was talking to my wife, okay, what should I talk about? I mean, this comes at the tail end of a series of talks, and everyone's been shown all these slides. And I've heard many, many wonderful, some heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, but uplifting stories all in all. So what more can I add? And I initially thought I would bring on stage my 3-month-old son. Unfortunately, as a couple of speakers before this was speaking, it was quite loud, and he started to cry. So my wife had to take him out. And so I have no gimmick, as it were. But I think that my life has been filled with many, many interesting changes. As you heard just now, I currently work for a politician, for Nurul Izzah, and I'm also a party member. At the same time, before this, I used to be a theatre practitioner. Although some say that politics is practically theatre. In fact, if you know people who work in the arts, it's far more political than politics. Kan? And before I was a theatre maker, director, a writer, I was also a teacher for a short while. I taught little kids for about 1-2 semesters, and then I felt like I was going to kill myself. So I said, okay, maybe teaching is not for me. And before that, I was working for 2 months in a factory, a Japanese manufacturing company in Shah Alam, where I was making the company, that factory makes capacitors. They're little things that you wind up some aluminum and then you put some anode and cathode. yeah, exactly. That's how I felt. After 2 months, I think the catalyst for change for me then actually was I realized that I was writing a lot of poetry between the sessions. I was an R&D guy. I was in the research and development department. And my task was actually to look for, to test the capacitance of aluminum foil. Not the one that you find in a supermarket, but they were rolls of aluminum actually. And I found that when I started writing poetry, there's something maybe not quite right going on. And and actually the piece that was the coup de grace on my chemical engineering career was a piece called Tiada Tanda Exit. There is no exit sign here. And when you listen to yourself, and your body is telling you all these things and you listen to it, your body, the human body is a very sensitive instrument, a very sensitive tool. And if you don't pay attention to it, then a lot of things will start to manifest itself. The Kelantanese, in Kelantanese performing arts, there is what you call main petri, or to weld. That's one interpretation, where when you suppress emotion or desires, it forms neuroses. Yeah, and then you will be afflicted by these feelings, these longings, these desires until you go crazy. So the Kelantanese have actually perfected a form of dealing with this kind of change that is experienced by the human body. Now, I had a chance to witness Main Petri session once, and it's very interesting because in Kelantan a lot of performing arts was banned. Wayang Kulit, Dikir Barat, Mak Yong, but Main Petri was not, because it was seen as a local form of medicine. It's alternative medicine. So the performance that I managed to watch was, there was a transgender, a transsexual, and she wanted to perform actually as in Mak Yong. And Mak Yong is a form of performance which is very feminine. I mean, it's female based. Yeah, the lead performers are women. And this is a very, very rare permutation of a performing art form. So it's only in Kelantan. So I've always felt that if there's anything that can save the conscience of this nation, at least in Semenanjung, it will be Kelantan. Something is happening there that they have to listen to their women. But here you have this case of a man who is a transsexual. And so, ordinarily in the kampung, people would make fun of him. Tengok ni bapok lu. Look at that. Look at that strange creature. And as the performance was going on, an interesting permutation, an interesting thing started to happen. People were initially making fun of her. And then after a while, and the performance was about 2 hours long, she wore the accoutrements of Mak Yong and started to perform with the troupe. The villagers who were making fun of her stopped. Partly because I guess they were bored. There's only so much that heckling that can go on. But here you have a body, meaning a village, a kampung, that began to listen to itself. And I don't know whether this transsexual to this day is still living there or has migrated to Kuala Lumpur, where things might be easier, perhaps as a masseuse in Jalan Alor. But I think at that moment, in that instance, performance, theatre, the stage, allows this suspension of what ordinarily happens. Now I want to go back, and it's very important in that sense. If you want to be change, or you want to know what is a catalyst for change, actually the most important catalyst is your body. You need to know, you need to listen to what your body is telling you. And before I joined this Japanese manufacturing company, I studied chemical engineering in the States. Why I studied chemical engineering? It's because for the longest time, I am a product of the Dr. Mahathir era. That means I was born in 1981 when Dr. Mahathir became the Prime Minister. And as a result of that, I think it is the culmination. My education choices is a reflection of the policies set by our leaders at that time. So I became a chemical engineer because I got the grades. Not because I was interested in it, not because I was passionate, but because actually I could do some maths. And then when I went to college, they listed out. Of course, in Form 3, when you get good grades, you automatically go into science stream. You have no other choice, right? Automatically you masuk saja. And then I saw on the first day of college in Subang, the head of the department had some slides, and he showed, okay, electrical engineer can make how much? Aeronautical engineer can make how much? Chemical engineer can make how much? I was sitting there, not knowing anything else, I could do anything I wanted. So I was like, engineering, okay, I got good grades, my physics was good, all also good, okay lah. Which of the engineering? Chemical engineering, so much. Electrical, so much, I don't like the electric small things, I don't like. Aerospace, takut. Chemical, why not lah? And that was how I decided to be a chemical engineer. And mind you, to get into, I went to Purdue University, and not that I'm pitching or anything like that, but to transfer into a university stateside, actually, I found out that you need really, really, really good grades. So I was very, very lucky. Now, there's something that happened while I was in college that I listened to my body. I was actually offered a JPA scholarship. Yeah, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, it is a scholarship given by the government, yeah, by the Jabatan Perkhidmatan Awam, and they offered me a full scholarship to go and study engineering in Germany. Coincidentally, at that time in college, I took 2 courses which I feel until this day, to this day, have really informed my philosophy and the way I look at things in life, in society, and my community. The first one is sociology. And the second one actually was world religion. No, actually I think it was theater. It's about the same. Because it was taught by the same guy. Yeah. So these two courses actually made me think and rethink and decide not to take up and go and study Eingang, Ausgang, go to Germany. I know I didn't. And I just want to take one step back. Yeah? Because for me, the catalyst for change and the change that I experienced actually happened in 1998. Today is the 17th, yeah, of August. On the 2nd of September 1998, something happened. And I think those of you who are cognizant of history, who remember, it is quite a pivotal moment in Malaysian society. I won't talk about it so much. You can go and look what happened on the 2nd of September in 1998. But what happened caused a lot of people to suddenly rethink their relationship with the government. And I think to this date, in my adult waking life, probably that was for me the catalyst for change. And why am I telling you all this? How did we go from talking about my son to having no idea to all the way back to something that happened in 1998? It's because when I was a theatre practitioner, one of the most interesting things I did was devised theatre with Five Arts Centre. And devised theatre is where you make things on the go. It's improvisation, but it's also actually deeply rooted in a storytelling technique from the form of wayang kulit, which is something that I, for a while, took up. And it is about listening to what your body says. Right now, my body is saying that I still have your attention, maybe some of you, maybe most of you, maybe not all of you. And thanks to my peripheral vision, I know there's still 5 minutes left. But it is about paying attention. It is about knowing what exactly is going on. And if you talk about change, you talk about catalysts, you talk about where you want things to go, you need to have something, a feedback loop, something that you can kind of gauge where exactly are we going. And that's why I say, you know, if you, for example, decide to take up the marathon tomorrow without any training, you will, listen to Fahmi, now I'm going to run, blah, you're going to die. Right? You can't do that, right? So you need to listen to your body. And as a theatre practitioner, actually, when you're on stage without a script, not knowing really what's going to happen next, that paying attention to your body is the most important thing. And actually, it's you can't just listen to the body. That's why before I decided to become to take up the job to work for Nurul Izzah, a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine who is a theatre maker and a director and a lecturer now, said, Fahmi, before you say yes, you take out a piece of paper and then you write on that all the things that you want to see through to the very end. Basically, to map out or to write out what your goals are before you go into this. And that was in 2010. I didn't do that. But the point is, at some point, you need to have someone check you. And you need to check, why did you start this change? And in a strange way, we come back at the beginning. I realized after my son was born, not during the last 13th general election, not on the 13th of May, he was born on a day after that, the 14th of May. He was 40 and a half weeks. Basically, he was a couple of weeks, half a week overdue. And I think more and more, I mean, a lot of my friends have left the country. And I'm sure a lot of you may not be here, you know, if you had the choice, if you had the chance, you know. I mean, I'm lucky to have seen a friend of mine, Grace, who I know actually from way back in college. And I do what I do now, sometimes without knowing when it will end, without knowing if there is any kind of hope, knowing the kind of difficulties, the kind of obstacles, the kind of hurdles that people of our ilk, the people that I work with, have to jump over, and rings of fire that never seem to end. Yet, in a strange way, I feel that now as we are so close to Merdeka, 56 years of Merdeka, and 50 years of Malaysia, the main reason I do what I do and I keep thinking and working at change is I'm really now doing it for my son. I wish he was here, and I wish that he could hear me wax lyrical about this, but I hope there is a Malaysia 50 years from now that is better for him, that is better for my friends, that is better for the memories of our founding fathers. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.